So another lawsuit in the WNBA. There's so many of them. There is so many of them, lads. Like, we are now looking at... there's just... It just seems like any time a play... Like, anything that happens at all ends up being a lawsuit. And then, like, a lawsuit where someone just throws in basically a freaking lie about Sophie Cunningham, and that gets brought up in a lawsuit, and then it's repeated as fact by people in the media. But, like, whatever. So, Nikki Blue, ex-interim coach, files lawsuit against the Mercury. And I have only, like, looked at this in a TLD, or I've like, kind of seen what this is about, and I'm like, please tell me it's not quite as bad as I thought. So, it says here, so basically, Blue, who is black, that is unless, I mean this when I say this, unless there is proof of discrimination, that is absolutely irrelevant to a person's ability to coach basketball. She was hired as an assistant coach and was named the interim coach and was fired after the coach was fired mid-season. She had a 7-21 record. She was not retained, and they hired Nate Tibbetts, who is white. That is irrelevant. That is irrelevant. That is absolutely irrelevant. Nate Tibbetts is one of the best coaches in the WNBA. That is irrelevant. The lawsuit alleges that Blue was paid $250K in her interim role, which is less than the $375K that Nygaard, who is white, was making. Well, yeah. You were the interim head coach. You coached half a season. You got paid $250K. Am I missing something? She got paid $250K to coach half a season. Am I missing something? Like, you don't automatically get the same salary as the head coach when you take over as an interim. Like, Tibbetts reportedly making more than $1 million per season. I mean, if there's any coach in double, like, so is Becky Hammond, and Tibbetts deserves it a lot more than she does. Blue also alleges the Mercury organization set her up to fail, making roster decision 2023 to make the team non-competitive. Yeah, no shit. They were tanking for Caitlin and Paige. Like, it was Paige and Caitlin were going into their senior seasons of college. Paige, Caitlin, Cameron, Brink, Rikia Jackson, Camila Cardoso, Angel Reese. They were tanking. That is what tanking is. Ironically, by you going 7-21. So I think there was 40 games in that season. So before that, I think they won 9 games that season. So there was 12 games. So they were 2-10 without her. 2-10? 2-10. They were 2-10 without her and 7-21 with her. Like, they were a bit better with her. A bit better. Despite her exemplary record, Miss Blue was cast aside, demeaned, and denied an opportunity to lead. Was she demeaned, or did they just say, you know what, yeah, you came in as an interim and we want a better coach than you? The lawsuit is not just about women's career, it's persuasive institutional respect for black women in sports leadership. I mean, like, I'm not going to speak on that. Because at the end of the day, I don't know. As an Irish man, I don't think there's a point in speaking on that situation. But I think from all sounds of it, the Phoenix Mercury fired a coach who was underperforming, gave the assistant coach a raise to take over as interim coach with no intention of keeping that assistant coach. The assistant coach still had a 0.3 win rate, which would have been the worst win rate in the WNBA. And then they replaced said assistant coach with arguably the best coach in the WNBA, not named Cheryl Reeve right now. Like, you could completely say you could make the same argument for literally any coach that's ever been fired. One of Blue's lawyers is Cherie Wright, who's filed other lawsuits against the Suns and the Mercury in recent seasons. This is the 5th lawsuit brought against the organization by Cherie Wright, an attorney who's been disciplined twice by the Supreme Court of Arizona for committing numerous violations of rules and professional conduct, including making false and unsupported allegations of racial bias against a judge. Suns and Mercury senior VP of Communications, Stacey Mitch, said a statement. Like Miss Wright's other cases, this case is completely meritless. Miss Blue was interviewed and considered for the head coaching position, but didn't get the position based on her performance as interim head coach, as well as her limited professional coaching experience. Like, yeah, that it sounds like that's what's happened. And again, look, I mean this when I say this. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. If this does end up going to court. If this does go to court, if there's anything that happens here, there's going to be some discovery, and realistically, if if it turns out that this is true, that what Nikki Blue and her lawyer are alleging is true, then obviously the Phoenix Mercury should be punished, and punished badly for it, because there's absolutely not only no place in sports for what they're being accused of, there's no place in life for what they're being accused of. But at the end of the day, it sounds like she just wasn't as good a coach as Nate Tibbetts. And like, they literally have to mention that she didn't get paid as much as the previous head coach. Well, yeah, she's an interim head coach. Like, let me just put it out there. Stephanie White, let's just say hypothetically, Stephanie White gets paid $1 million. And Stephanie White steps away for the rest of the season. And Austin Kelly steps in. Austin Kelly's salary doesn't automatically go to $1 million because Stephanie White got paid $1 million. It would be like saying, I don't know, like Greg Popovich. Let's just say Greg Popovich is the highest paid coach. Let's say he gets paid $15 million a year. I don't know what he gets paid. But it's like when he steps away, whoever steps in automatically by default has to become the highest paid coach in the NBA because, that's what the previous coach had. Like, what? What are we doing? Like, she got offered 250 grand. If you wanted 375K, refuse the job. Like, it's sports. Everyone gets paid different deals. Like, the Indiana Fever replaced Dewana Bonner with Ari McDonald. They replaced Katie Lou Samuelson. They got rid of Katie Lou. Let's just say hypothetically, they replaced Katie Lou Samuelson with Bree Turner, and they paid Katie Lou 180K. Let's just say there's a hypothetical. That Lexi Hull gets a max contract for a year in 2026, and they replace Lexi Hull with, I don't know, let's say Bree Hall makes a miraculous recovery and makes a career in the WNBA. And they randomly just say, that she has to be paid as much as Lexi Hull or else it's discrimination. I'm like, man, that's not sports. And again, that's what it reads like. I could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong. But this literally reads like Nate Tibbetts isn't allowed to be paid. Nate Tibbetts isn't allowed to be paid. Nate Tibbetts isn't allowed to get his job that she had to be. She had to get the job over Nate Tibbetts, who's a hell of a coach, because of non-basketball reasons. That's a slap in the face to the sport by the looks of things. It looks like it is a slap in the face to the sport. But at the end of the day, look, I don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. We all don't know what's going on. At the end of the day, all we can do is speculate. This looks like it's going to be another lawsuit that's thrown out. It does not look like, from reading it, it does not seem like a situation that the Phoenix Mercury did anything wrong. But at the end of the day, if the Phoenix Mercury did what they're being alleged, then they should be punished extremely hard. But at the end of the day, it doesn't look like it. It does not look like it. But we don't know. Anyway, I'll see you guys.